Hey Mariska!
Hey!
We are seeing each other the second time this week, so I'm really proud of it. We have a lot of discussion about our present. And actually, I think it's today we will summarize what we have talked during the last hour meeting. But first of all, we want to introduce ourselves. Mariska, you are entrepreneur, you are a public speaker, you are author of your book, which is called My Husband Has a Brain Tumor. And now you are on a camper trip in Poland, in Poznań. Please tell us, what are you doing here in Poznań? And how is that happen that we can talk today?
Yeah, of course. But before I go that, perhaps it's also interesting for the listeners. Who are you? Because I think I'm the guest, but because also I have my podcast, it would be great also to know you. So you are a professional event blogger.
Yes.
since 7 years.
7 years. Yes, I think it's the 7 years.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
And besides that, you have 12 years in experience in real, normal events. We call it
live
in-person events. But also you are working. So you're quite specialized in organizing online events with avatars.
Yes, actually it's the Avatarland platform, and we have 5 platforms avatar-based, and we making events online when we have a pandemic, for example. So it's multiple event manager here.
But I think that's quite common in our industry because we usually have different roles and different tasks as an event manager.
Yes.
You're a problem solver. You are actually everything, huh?
I think most of my colleagues as event planners should working like this way because actually last 2 years force us to be multi-planners in different kind of areas, for example, in technician way, also in an internet site and so on. So
that's true. That's true.
So we will also talk about this, I think.
Yeah, but at the moment you have, of course, Poland is now in a different situation than you would expect it. I would say 2 months ago.
Yeah. As I wrote you on somewhere in the comments when you informed me that you will be here, that you will discover different Poland as you probably have in your memory from different parts. Yeah, our country is different, but I'm glad that you came here and tell us you came from Netherlands to Poland. To Poznaniu by camper.
Yes.
And you have planned to visit more cities.
Correct. Yes.
Yes, and you will probably see more of people from the industry, event industry and MICE industry.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes. It's a huge trip. A lot of preparations and a lot of scheduling. Actually,
you're brave, you know. I haven't seen any other woman who just go from the Netherlands to Poland alone with a cat. Sorry, not alone.
Yes.
What's the name of the cat?
Lucky.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
She is gorgeous.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, but it's how can I say? I don't call myself brave. I'm more like a doer. Well, first of all, I think the pandemic had a huge impact on all of us. You mentioned in the introduction that I wrote a book. My husband has a brain tumor. Unfortunately, he passed away last summer due to a brain tumor. And it really made me think because I promised my husband that I would continue traveling because we haven't traveled during the pandemic, also of course due to his illness. And because I'm working very closely, so I call him always my wingman, Jaro. He is based in Poland, and we couldn't see each other due to the pandemic, due to my personal situation. So I said, well, if I want to travel and I want to discover different places, I thought, well, how can I do that? And the second thing is I was moving back in with my father. so we could support each other in this situation. And I think, I really miss my freedom. My father is a nice man, but it's different if you are at our age to move in back in with your father. So I decided to buy a camper. And so the idea came up, and a week later or 2 weeks later, I bought a camper.
Mm-hmm.
I've never driven in a camper, never camped in a camper, of course, in a tent, but never in a camper. And I decided to go to Germany, Poland, and Denmark. But then, of course, the situation changed, and also, the preparation before this journey changed. So I decided to stay 2 months in Poland.
Excellent. And it starts from this week, yeah?
Yes, I'm here since I'm now exactly 1 week. So I arrived last Saturday in Poznań. Yeah.
Super. And how do you like the Poznań?
Well, it's funny because I've been here 16 years ago for the wedding of my best friend, where I'm also staying now. I don't remember because I was, I think, 2 or 3 days before the wedding, and afterwards I traveled around. But I like this city because it's really compact. It's a beautiful old town. I think it has a lot of things to offer, and I think also the colorful houses, the and also so many nice places where you can eat, where you can drink.
Yes.
It's really inviting to go to discover all these places.
Yeah. In Poznań lives the people who has their own companies. The very the many of them. It's the many of the entrepreneurs, which many startups and so on. So I find the city because I moved from here to Poznań around 6 years ago from Warsaw, so from the capital. But I found the city as compact and very close everywhere here. And I don't miss much Warsaw. Of course, I miss my friends and family, which was there. But so I started the new life in Poznań, and I think it was a very good choice. Nevertheless, we need to come back to our present, actually. We live in a very spectacular, I think, times right now. We are after the 2 years of pandemic. After pandemic, which actually I think that it quick, very very short, comes the war in Ukraine. And for Poland means that we have, it was the very huge impact to our businesses, to, for example, to the meeting industry, especially to the meeting industry.
Yes.
Impact to the business, impact also in social media, what we are sharing, and actually impact to our business profession, what we can do in the next few months, during this time when it comes. Actually, yesterday I found the information that from the Ukraine flew over 4-5 million people around the neighborhood countries, and in Poland we have already 3.2 million Ukrainians here.
It's incredible. It's incredible. The number, it's incredible because I live in such a small country where we only have 17 million. So if we would add another three,
in Poznań it's 800,000 people living here. So probably when the Ukrainian comes, there's 100,000 more. Yeah. So the conflict escalation in Ukraine forced people to find new homes, new jobs, and finding this protection for their children, of course. So we have different life actually what we expected after the pandemic, because when I dreaming on the February this year, I thought that after the pandemic, I was starting my events since March. March, April, May, it will be maximum, and so on. That it won't going to happen. Probably, we will start this business soon because they are so, right now, we have increased the number of briefs and increased the number of the offers which we're sending to the customer. But we still are afraid what is going to happen in Ukrainian side. So I would like to also add that many of my colleagues from the event industry find this situation as a chance to help to each other, especially the Ukrainians.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah.
And we have started the action of fundraising. We have started action to collect the appropriate things to share with them. Actually, still we doing somehow because I think it's the best way to show our hospitality here.
Of course, but
nevertheless, the work already have today 40 days takes so very long time.
Incredible.
It's the second month, yes, and we still don't see the end. That's why this discussion it's actually forced that what we're going to do next couple of months. What you can advise us?
Well, it's a very particular situation, like you said. 2 years of pandemic and then again a crisis. So I'm afraid that many companies will fall down, not only in the meetings and events industry, but also in tourism industry. They said that 40% loss in tourism industry already due to cancellation. We don't, of course, have official numbers of facts and figures, I would say, about the meetings and events industry, which is a pity. But of course, there are already cancellations. I spoke with the Poznań Convention Bureau, with the Poznań Congress Center, with different venues here. And yeah, they all have noticed either things have been a huge event has been scheduled towards Milan, so not in Poznań. So it's massive, the impact here for Poland. And also I think there are two main challenges that Poland has. And the first thing is actually the general perception about Poland. Is first of all that it's still, and I'm going to say it in a Dutch way, and I'm allowed because that it's still a very, I say, communistic country. It's still the great tall buildings. That's still in the minds what people have seen on the media, perhaps, of course. Well, even it's already years back. So there's not, if I would say, there are many nice restaurants, cozy bars, colorful center of Poznań. This is not what resonates with the image that people have of Poland in general. So that's the first challenge that we have. And the second is, of course, the image that we receive now. Like you said, that Poland has now through 3.2 million people extra in the country.
And it's connected with safeness.
Yes.
And how we can deal, for example, for incoming business and trips, which we usually have. Yeah.
So a lot of people also said, where? So since I bought the camper, so people were really supportive. Hey, Mariska, where are you going? So I'm going to Poland. Poland. So and then you saw the reaction on their faces, like, what the heck is she going to do in Poland?
There's plenty more funniest places, Spain.
Why don't you go for the lovely weather? Why don't you go to Spain or France? And I said, no, I'm going to Poland. And it was already on my schedule, but only to stay for perhaps 2 or 3 weeks. And now my planning is to stay 2 months. But people were really like, oh, Poland, is it safe? And also with people that I speak with, people from my town where I live, or my village where I live now. Even yesterday I had a conversation with the Dutch entrepreneur. She said, you're calling from Poland. Is it safe? Or she said, actually, oh, what a stupid question. You're there. So there are two general perceptions. So the misperception of the general image of Poland. The second is that it's not safe to travel. And of course, the image that the war is every day on the news, where you only see, say, the fleet of people. People think that they're refugees lying on the street.
I stopped. I can't do it.
I also don't watch the news anymore, but that's the image that people are in the station. People, perhaps the hotels are full with refugees.
Even on the MTP Targi, and the convention bureau, when you have last week, there is also the few halls which are collecting the people, which they just arrive by train. And they're sleeping in the halls. There are hundreds of them. There are the kind of kitchen which they serve the people the soups or the different kind of the dishes. And I have seen that few times, and I really I was crying when I saw that.
Yeah, of course, because we cannot imagine how it is to leave everything behind that you've built up and just to come over here with only one bag and with your parents or even with your child or even traveling alone. Or traveling, it's not any coming alone. Yeah. It's unimaginable to reposition yourself. So therefore I say, I'm grateful that I'm not in a similar situation, but I think we can do much more than we do now, especially with the community of meetings and events. Because first of all, like I said, the two challenges, what we can do. So the misperception and the image that Poland has received during the past 40 days of the war. And I think, we can, of course, donate, like you said, food, we can donate clothes, we can donate money, but it doesn't change the perception. Yeah. The fact that I'm here traveling alone, a woman alone, or with my cat, but in my camper traveling through Poland, that it's safe, I'm still alive, I'm not robbed, I'm healthy, so there's nothing going on. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going to Poland. So I think we need to change the perception and convincing people to the best thing that they can do is travel as a tourist towards Poland and change that perception, first of all, that people have in general about Poland, but also about the current situation, because then you really help the local entrepreneurs and also the image that Poland has. So therefore, I'm sharing, of course, on my blog and all the social media channels, and so lots of people are following me. But I think there's also a task for our industry to do something and not just waiting until the government takes action. I think we all have a purpose. We all have, a duty to do, and to, especially from the local people, to show that Poznan is just business as usual.
Yes. And also I can observe that I have been actually 1 week ago on a conference, different in different branch actually, but it was also signal in one of the panels that we are here together to discuss what we can do as a society to help the people in the same industry in Ukraine. So in each of the conference, there was a part of the Ukrainian discussions. Hey guys, let's do something else. So this is the one, I think, change that we have the still very hot topic on the conference. Second thing, it's many of the hotels are sharing their rooms for the Ukrainians. It's for short time, but for just finding the flat and finding the job. But I've even I have one event 2 weeks ago to organize, and believe me, I have no space to make it for 100 people because everyone's sharing the rooms to the Ukrainians, and we need to postpone the date for the end of April when I find already the space. So for example, this kind of stuff also we have as problems with the finding the stays for the companies.
But it's not everywhere. It's not everywhere. But that's what I want to say, because I had a discussion that say that the hotels are full with refugees. That's the image that people have. Perhaps in certain cities, but for example in Poznan, it's not the case. All the hotels are open and doing business as usual.
Yes, they are. It's actually outside of the cities, the hotels. For example, the Hotel Ossa, which is 80 kilometers from Warsaw. Okay. He takes orphans from the Ukraine, and it's 1,000 children there. So it's in charge of Polkom, the company, and there is their CSR. And actually, when I'm attending the CSR right now, it's a very nice topic to help create the offer, how we can deal with Ukrainians and how we can persuade our customers to take for example, logistics, take the responsibility for the situation and force the companies to doing more. It's not just that we are helping 1 month and it's end. This work can be still during the next months and even years. That's why our role as event planners is to take the CSR, the social responsibility, as a top one.
Yes, absolutely.
In the offers, in a briefs, and actually talking with the customers that even if they have no experience in such kind of areas, they have managers who can take as a task to do, and in front of them just doing.
But I think it's excellent what you're saying, and that's also why we have the podcast. I think we can do so much more than just donating money, which is a very easy way to support. Yes. But I think there, as event professionals, like you said, we can propose Poland. And I know it's a challenge for incentive agencies or any others to say, okay, I will propose Poland now, because if you would lose your client by proposing Poland, of course, it can be a huge challenge. But at the other hand, it's our industry, it are our colleagues that we want to support. And we've already been through such a painful time the past 2 years, personally, professionally, that we should add, like you said, in incentives or even meetings or conferences. The conferences that are taking place, people are asking, what can we do? What can we bring? And I think just, and all the people that I've spoken with, just come. First of all, just come and see that life here is just as normal. Like you said, at the conference center.
Or use the social media and show us how we have life, because you are also specialist from the social media side,
Yes, that's true. That's true. We'll talk about business, but I think we all as individuals have a duty, and we should. If you are an event professional, supplier, hotel, employee, if you have your professional channels, social media channels, or your personal, I think we all should share the message, first of all, that Poland is safe, but also showing that business is as usual.
Yes.
For example, yesterday I was at the Poznań Motor Show, a huge show. I don't know how many thousands of people. It's the biggest show in Central Europe. Of course, it's a consumer exhibition, but this goes on. There's nothing. It was full of people yesterday. On the fair.
And 1 week ago there was a marathon in Poznaniu when take place. Also hundreds of people. Hundreds, and the life still. There is.
Do we show that? Have we seen those images on?
The refugees exist, but the life is going still as usual.
Yeah. So I think everybody can pick up their phones, especially from the local people. And also, what I think that we could do is, the people who are living abroad from Poland, they could also support us and say, we want to support our country, and showing and be in touch and sharing that images in, for example, if they're based in the Netherlands or in Belgium, that they also could share, say, hey, please consider going to Poland this year as your holiday destination, or organize your event or meeting or conference here.
Absolutely.
and do something back. So I think it's I would say a different way of thinking, but people want to see the real stories. People want to know what's going on behind the regular media, because we've all been bombarded the past 2 years with fake news and all sorts of.
Actually, we have bombarded in Poznań too.
Yeah. Well, but we just want to say that
in the end of the December we have 30,000 sicknesses daily.
Well, also Holland, of course, had so many cases. And what is the real news? What's not the real news? So the only way how we can change is use the power of ourselves. Even if you're not active on social media, you can still spread the news. You can still talk with magazines who want to spread or looking for interesting content. And so contact the magazines that you know, the journalists, be active on social media, share the updates, and come to Poland yourself. So I think there are lots of things that we can do, but of course it takes a little bit more effort than just, but like I said, donating money or I'm not saying that's not good, because yes, Poland needs the money, but I think by taking action like we're doing now today, talking about the topic and seeing the situation with my own eyes, from a Dutch entrepreneur, and having this discussion with you today, I think, just by inspiring people and giving people concrete tips and suggestions how they can move forward in this difficult situation.
Yeah. And what if the companies and entrepreneurs are living just next to the abroad from Ukraine? For example, the cities like Lublin, Przemyśl, Zamość, they have the different quality of life because the refugees just flowing just from this place. Do they should refigure out what they can offer to the customers? For example, should they think about changing the offer? For example, selling the cities like Warsaw and spaces somewhere in the center of Poland, or to the east, to the south, somewhere else? How do you think?
Well, I think the cities that you mentioned, because I cannot pronounce all of them in the right way.
Yes.
I think those cities were more focused, first of all, I think more on the local market,
Yes.
less on the international market.
Yes.
So the events and congresses and conferences that are coming in are not close to the border with the Ukraine. They're going more to Warsaw, to Gdansk, to even of course to Poznań, to Krakow, of course, where a lot of events are taking place. So these cities are 100, 200, 400, even 700-800 kilometers away from the Ukrainian border. So these cities have, of course, a different audience. But I think that they should share how the situation is, because it can may be different per hotel and per city.
Yeah.
And even your hotel is full of refugees. Why don't you share that? Because we are, the event professionals community is quite strong. If you would show that you share you open your hotel for the refugees, I think you can gain a lot of support.
Yes.
Because being so, like we said, we are event manager, we are so flexible. From one minute your pandemic closed down, then there's no guests, and suddenly it's full with refugees. So it shows how flexible these the staff and the people are. But I think still need to share that real story. Even your hotel is full of refugees, that doesn't mean that you cannot win any business on the long term. I think you just need to be realistic how the situation is today. That's what people want to hear.
Yeah, actually, and I think in that particular time when hotel takes the refugees, it works also power of society. That whole customers are people who are usually use this hotel. They trying to help this hotel to survive and to make help much more effectively. Even I prepares a few collection of the foods and so on. When I heard that the hotel Ophelia, I don't remember exact name, probably Ophelia in the 60 kilometers from the Poznań, took 100 women and children. So we just take in 1 week the whole conference room for just sending to this hotel to just help them, because they took them just for now, because the present as it is, so we need to still sharing this helplessness and trying to survive somehow.
Because you're also a blogger, you're also active on social media.
Yes.
From your perspective, you said you already donated food and you already did done lots of things. But what is the advice that you can give as being? I'm not saying that you're a local blogger, because because your blog is in Polish. But what tips and advice could you give towards all the people who are listening today? So it can be convention bureaus, can be suppliers, can be event planners. Doesn't matter who's working in the events industry. What are tips and tricks that you can share with the listeners?
First of all, I think the message which I would like to share is that we are those angels not just for 3 weeks. We are those angels as a country who will be the many more years next to the Ukraine.
Definitely, yeah.
So we still need to be humans and need to share the support for those people, because we don't know yet how the future will going to be in the next couple of years. Actually, I don't mean that we will have any war or something like this, but it's the proof that if you can help the human, that you can also receive those help if you will need particular help. So it's just being as a human, as a also Catholic, if you are a believer. Second thing, it's action. I'm sick of the politicians when they just talking how many support they get, they put to the refugees, if they actually didn't do anything, And action is, for me, it's the proof for doing something with the direction of the change. Especially, for example, we have the nice conversation on the dinner few days ago, and say, hey, when we recorded that will be a great...
it was a nice conversation.
The great topic for listening for others.
Yes,
Maybe somebody we will influence them, and he will share this podcast somebody else.
Yes.
And that will be impact for others. Yes, that's why sharing the news, how we can help to each other. I believe in a power of society. When we are this fire, when we give this fire from inside us, more we can have the much bigger effects that we expected. And the third thing, it's the CSR. So we should somehow persuade our customer to have the events, but connected with this Ukrainian word. Maybe we, on the 1st of June, we have the Day of the Child. So this is the moment when all of these companies can do the picnics with the Ukrainian child and have the
nice
society of all together, Polish children and the Ukrainian children. There's nothing, for us, it's just the event, But two societies can be all together.
Yes.
It doesn't cost much, because it's still one stage. It's still maybe some more food, but it's still one area, and we can ask those people just come in and be show how our hospitality is it, So I think that's all the 3 tips the most important for me.
Well, I totally agree, because then by bringing the people here, you can change perception. And it's a pity that still there is that huge perception about Poland in general, and with the current situation that probably will take much longer than expected. So I just hope with this podcast and with our activities and sharing online and motivating people, I really hope that our industry, despite that we are challenged, I hope that not saying that we've learned something out of it, but that we will come out stronger and more professional and more flexible in a way. Of course, if you talk about associations who plan 4 or 5 years ahead, but I think still Poland loses a lot of business because they won't consider now Poland for perhaps in a bidding process for association, but you don't know what's going to happen in 5 years' time, right? Perhaps the Netherlands might be in war. I sincerely don't hope so, but we are also now in a situation we have not imagined that before. So I think our industry can be really support each other, and I think that's how we should move forward. That incentives or corporate meetings or business meetings or any meeting that's taking place, especially face to face, come to Poland and see it with your own eyes, and during your stay do something back for like I said, the picnic for the children, that on the day of the child, can be anything. But we're all humans and we all want to be helped. We don't want to in the same situation as one of those refugees.
And one more thing, I think the situation which we are right now, we need to get used to it, because probably hundreds of people won't come back because they have actually so many lost and so many destroyed of the cities that probably they will take Poland as a day home.
Mm-hmm.
And in the final result, we can have double culture society here, Polish and Ukrainian. We will have two languages on one area, and probably we need to also figure out what is Ukrainian and somehow put it into our lives too. 2 days ago, I received the book as a gift from the conference. The book, which was wrote by the actress Weronika Marczuk, the Ukrainian who is sitting here 20 years. She is the last woman of the Cezary Pazura, also the actor. And she's Ukrainian, and she wrote a book about the recipes of Ukrainian. And do you know, can you believe in that already I have prepared in my home 2 dishes, which is Ukrainian, and it's very good. Actually, so I trying to figure out to open for the culture.
Yeah.
I have a plan to learn the Ukrainian language because maybe it will helps me some more to
definitely. Yeah.
So I really have open-minded how we can deal with this Ukrainian because I think that it will going to be as a normal life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think also there are a lot of people fleeing into your country, also not to forget, also to the Netherlands and other countries. But I really hope, because there is a lot of people who are working in the events industry in the Ukraine, and one entrepreneur is now in Berlin. But perhaps also we can use these people also to embrace in our industry, like you said, and use the talent, because they're not just, say, refugees. There are also a lot of people who are highly educated or have lots of experience. So I think perhaps also our industry can really embrace the professionals who are coming from the Ukraine and use them that they can also really maintain their job and the passion that they've done from the Ukraine also in our industry.
Yes. Excellent. Mariska, what do you think about the incentives in Poland? I know that it's the topic which is unpopular now because, as you mentioned, that people thinking that it's here unsafe, and they are existing the international conferences which are postponed or change the place which they are going to happen. For example, this one 10,000 people which was going to happen in the next month. It's already postponed.
Yes.
And how we can deal with this challenge?
Well, it's very difficult, because who's making the decision for an event or incentive or conference? That's usually very difficult.
Yeah.
And of course that decision is not taken from one until the other day, especially when there are lots of people involved, or when it's a huge conference like from 10,000 people. I think the only way, because even if we take decision for our businesses, we all are consumers, first of all, with their own perception and their own ideas. And even if the decision makers are all consumers and taking decision from their personal point of view, say, oh yeah, but I've sold this and I cannot, it's harming the reputation of my company. It might harm my position in the company, or so everybody takes, of course, a safe way. Yes. And this is which I understand. But at the other hand, we're not helping each other with this kind of decision. So I think we need to look at the current situation in a different way. And what would you do if you were now a citizen or entrepreneur in Poland? You would also like that businesses coming in. And on top of that is, you can't just held your conference as normal. There's nothing, especially if you go to Warsaw or here in Poznań, or the activities go as usual. There's nothing different about it. Perhaps you even get more quality than before because you are so happy that we are definitely coming. So I think it's changing the perception. That's the only thing that we can do, and using the power of online and offline media.
Yes. And maybe hire some influencers to persuade the organizer that we are in the safe area and nothing's going to happen with your guests. Yeah, you can tell us about the influencer side because it's your part of shoes, actually.
Yes, it's my passion. Yes, but I think first of all, there's a huge misperception about influencers in general. As you know, they're B2C influencers. I call them the travel influencers, the fitness or the beauty influencers, and you have the B2B influencers. And the biggest difference is B2B influencers, you choose the people based on experience, on knowledge, and on the quality of their followers. You are a professional blogger because you have that working experience, which means that you also have the right followers in your audience. So you have decision makers of events, you have suppliers, and that's the biggest difference. Travel influencers are usually, say, consumers. You have really people in your audience who are relevant for our industry. So that's the biggest, the biggest difference. And second of all, an influencer campaign, as we do it, B2B, is a combination of online and offline activities. It's not only, like you said, persuading or influencing people just by a podcast or just by doing a blog post on social media. Now, there are different activities using the different channels on a long term, because we cannot change the perception of everyone who's listening today. How we would love to have everyone who's listening or seeing the video later on that they could come to Poland and organize the event. That's not going to happen. But if they would receive that through the different channels, not only from me, from you, from others, that would make people really think. So this is what we do. So we create long-term B2B influencer marketing campaigns based or aligned with the strategy of the client.
Yeah, I think you persuade me. I be one of your partner.
Yeah, well, you're great.
On the Poland area, Poznań area.
Yes, but you are. I mean, you have the experience. You have the followers. Yes. You have done lots of work for the industry. I mean, I would say the main decision makers. You know the convention bureaus. You know so many people.
Yeah, the situation kind of confused us, and actually we don't know how to react and go business in the future. Yes, that's why I think after the 1 month when the war still it is, we need to get used to it and go somehow in the next steps.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We are all influencers, yes.
Yes, that's true. Even if you're not active.
Everybody has the account on Facebook or the LinkedIn or somewhere else, Instagram. Yeah,
but even your influence, even if you would go to your grandparents or to your neighbor who doesn't have an account on social media and says, "Oh, you have a very nice jacket. Where did you bought it?" And then they would say, "Oh yes, I bought it there." And perhaps you would buy it by her because you really like it, or you really enjoyed it. So there are many ways of influencing each other without using the power of social media. Of course, social media is easy in a sense, but on the other hand, we still work with people and we do business with people that we trust. And therefore, we say B2B influencer marketing is based on people with real experiences and who are authentic, who are not just fake or always perfectly dressed and makeup on. No, it's about our business, our passion that we talk about.
I still have a conference online, because even if pandemic stopped and refugees still coming to Poland, my company Avatarland has still some events, and I thought that it will be only ending on the term when the pandemic comes from, I don't know, October till the February. But in my observation is that it also happens in the normal months when we have no sicknesses. It's for, actually, my customers usually are the business which have spread the companies. For example, they have the divisions in few cities and cannot deal with the event somewhere else because some are on the different continents.
Yeah, of course.
That's why they're using the platforms, and they even 2-3 times already have the plans to organizing. So do you think that the online business as the events and platforms like we have, it will be existing in a as normal life in the future, or they will
No. I think it will remain. You can, or that it will also be a combination of online and offline. So like the hybrid event. Of course, you have many explanations of hybrid event and how you can do that. But if we call hybrid, let's make it most simple explanation. It's combination of online and offline event. I think online events or pure online events will remain, especially like you said, if you have your challenges of getting from people from different continents, different time zones. Is it really necessary to travel all the way, say, from Europe towards the United States, or for example, to go to LA, where you have time difference, travel, but also
cost effectiveness.
Yes,
different.
Your footprint on the environment, but moreover, we've learned that a lot of things can continue. Also when we're staying at home. So is it really necessary to leave for example, my family and children, where I need to juggle with babysitting and all sorts of personal challenges that I have? Is it really worth it to block almost an entire week due to the time difference to go to that conference, where I can get the content also online at home, comfortable in my pajamas, for example?
You mentioned about very good point, because one of my friend of mine worked in the Santander Bank, and she is already forced to work from the home 2nd year, and she's hungry of working with the people. And she already, when we saw last time, she said, I will change my job because I'm hungry of the social media with the people live. And we are forced to working on the Teams, on the Zooms and so on. And she said, I'm sick of it.
Well, I can imagine, but of course I think it's finding our balance, because I think it's finding a balance in our professional life. Do we really go back to 5 days in the office, or can we also work from home? In the Netherlands, it was already quite, I'm not saying common, but for some companies it was already quite common to work, for example, 1 or 2 days at home, depending, of course, which company and which position you had. But I think a lot of things can continue, but at the other hand, what I also see is that the need to meet people is huge. Because what I've also noticed from a business perspective, I had conversations also with people from other cultures, and it was very difficult to explain my business and to explain what I'm doing. Or you saw that the person was distracted. But what do you do in a business conversation? Do you directly say, I see that you're distracted, you don't listening to me, or should we postpone it? Or so it's very difficult. So some reasons it's really necessary to meet each other and to do the business and to get to know each other face to face. But I think a lot of things that we've seen that are possible to do online, and also with events. I think online events will remain, perhaps not as huge as been by the pandemic. And I think we also need to think of the formats, how to keep the people engaged, because but I think that's the point. That's the biggest challenge.
There is right now the very trend word which is called metaverse.
Yes.
And actually, we don't know, but as Zuckerberg said on September last year, they are preparing the metaverse world when we have a society inside the platforms, which looks similar to the avatars. And believe me, the engagement of the users this platform, it's 100% more than talking to watching the talking head from the Zoom or the Teams. Really, on the platforms which I mentioned, there are hundreds of moments that we can take the chance to talk to each other like we do.
Yeah.
One-on-one or one in a couple of people in one room. Yes. That's the first point. Second, we can create the games like in the, for example, scavenger hunt. We can collect the points on the island. We can take the polls and ask the people what do you think about each of the topic. Show them a questionnaire, what's are the results live. And this is how future of events online should go, I think, this way. And engagement should be one of the perspectives which the planners should realize, because doing the on not appropriate tools, I think the crashing business, especially from the sponsor side, because if they don't get any much more attention, they won't invest money next time.
No, that's true.
Yes.
But perhaps it's also an option that the people who might have a misperception about Poland or don't know if it's safe, why don't you then do an online event or a hybrid event where the people have the choice, but still keep the event here in the country, and to there perhaps even a combination, but still keep Poland as your main, your main source, your.
I think we still have a lack of knowledge here.
On hybrid events?
Hybrid events, it's much more because much more event agency doing that.
Yeah.
But still, I feel
100% online. You're talking now.
Yes.
Okay.
And I feel that still the people from the event agency, they not so much taking the time to spread the knowledge daily, or actually, I mean that we should focus sometimes and realize that we have such many environments to make the same actually, but with the different result that we need to spend some time to get some knowledge from the website or somewhere else. There's plenty of the courses on different platforms. On Novaterland we have a plan to make the course how to make events in metaverse worlds.
Super. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it will be. So we have the 5 platforms, and each of them we are describing and telling how to do it. Yes, and how to deal it with. That's why I think it might be interesting. So it will be happening probably in the May. So I will let you know.
but still it would be great because you're providing this service that people also perhaps consider using, because even the client would come from the Netherlands or from Belgium or from Germany.
Yeah, international.
Yeah, it doesn't matter for you.
It's still it's society of events. That's here in Poland or in the Netherlands, that's the same customer.
Yeah, so perhaps that's also something how people can help and book then and using, say, online providers for their event from here.
I think the list of my questions, it's going to be done.
Okay. Well, because I think it was also quite a long podcast.
Yes, I think the people who already survived, they have 55 minutes.
Okay, wow. If they've listened already so long, wow.
Sorry, guys. It wasn't. We have a plan for 30 minutes.
Yeah, but I knew it's going to be longer. That was for sure. But
Yeah, so for those people who would like to have a contact with us, yeah, my name is Aga Ciesielska. I'm owner of the eventoblablogger.pl.
And my name is Mariska Kesteloo. I'm the founder of Word of Mice. And if you want to have more information, you can use the hashtag Mariska Journey. So you can follow my journey here in Poland.
Have a safe journey to the end of the day.
Yeah. But I really hope that the people who've listened today, that we've inspired them. And if they have any questions about the current situation or about Poland for related with travel or with tourism, please don't hesitate either to have the local perspective on Agnieszka or from me as a foreign perspective, because we would love to continue this topic and we need to spread the word about the situation.
Yeah, we are dealing with the better world in the future, I hope.
Yes.
Thank you, Mariska, for the talk.
Yes, thank you so much, Agnieszka.
It was a pleasure.
Yes.
I feel stronger.
Thank you.
Thank you.